Coming up on this episode of Celtics Weekly, the NBA's most storied rivalry opens a new chapter. Al Horford continues to turn back the clock, and the Celtics take on the best in the West as the Thunder come to town. All that and more now.
Welcome into Celtics Weekly. What do we have here? Drew Carter of NBC Sports Boston, Meghan Ottolini. We have a 4-0 week from the Celtics. Couldn't ask for much more. Couldn't ask for much more than these socks. I want to say this is lucky, but I know those angry eyebrows. That is a different leprechaun.
Well, why are you putting me on blast? Why are you exposing me? Let's just say
You're exposing the socks to start the show.
These are Celtics socks. They're Celtics socks. They're Celtics adjacent.
Lucky usually has a...
Lucky's much nicer than this guy.
He has a cigar. He doesn't have the angry eyebrows. I think those might belong to one college in South Bend, Indiana.
This guy wants to fight somebody. Lucky just wants to throw down cool dunks and pump up the crowd and throw out some T-shirts.
And Lucky is very happy. We got to get into Weekly Rewind because Lucky's team went 4-0, starting with Portland. I don't think anybody saw this game coming. 40-plus for two different players for the first time in Boston Celtics history. And no, it's not the Jays. It was Peyton and Derek.
First time in Celtics history, you go all the way back. I mean, it's not, Russell and Havlicek, Russell and Kuzi. It's not Bird, McHale. It's Pritchard and White, which was so fun to watch. I'm a little upset about this game, Meg, personally, because Mike Tirico got to call it and I was, sitting and watching it, but it was also fun to watch because Peyton Pritchard, you see what the guy puts in, all the work. He's one of the hardest workers in the NBA. And for him to have this explosion against his hometown team, really cool to see. And then Derek White, it's just yet another example of if you give Derek White a bunch of shots and a chance to be spotlighted in this offense, he can do something like this.
Absolutely. I think it's cool because it will go down in the record books with two guys who are maybe not the biggest headliners on the team. I gotta ask you, when you're watching these games and you don't get to call them on the rare instances, are you shouting at the situation, still doing the calls?
I'm screaming. I'm screaming into the ear of whoever is unfortunate enough to sit next to me. Yes.
All right, let's move on to Philly. Both teams in this matchup were pretty short-handed. Celtics still came out on top. Derek White, a little bit of a challenging night for him as he got his teeth knocked out.
Again.
But the headline here, I think, was 37 points from Jayson Tatum. And as you noted, those were the temps for Derek White from the final side.
Well, Derek White is so relatable. He's just like the rest of us. Who among us hasn't put off a dentist appointment for months when we should
years?
When we should really go get something checked out. Derek said that he should have done it a while ago, right after the finals. That's when he got his teeth knocked out in Game 5. Here's the thing I love about Derek White, though. This was a regular season game against Philly, and he came back in after getting his teeth knocked out.
It was wild. He was walking out holding the towel to his mouth, and I was there. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope it's not the teeth. Of course, it was the teeth. We hope that he has the permanent ones in. But of course, the highlight of the entire weekend was Saturday night. 8:30 at the Garden. It was the Lakers at the Celtics. The rivalry is alive and well. Tatum and Brown had 40 and 31 apiece. And man, they played some serious minutes in this game. We got LeBron going out early, 5 minutes left with an injury, but the Celtics were dominant the whole second half.
Yeah, really, they pulled away in the third quarter. Lakers made a bit of a run in the fourth before LeBron got hurt, but the Jays were terrific. And then I think the story of this game is Horford.
Absolutely.
He was amazing. I've never seen a team target Al Horford like the Lakers did. For whatever reason, J.J. Redick and that staff felt like they had to find somebody, and they thought Al was the weak link. Maybe they just looked at his birth certificate and decided, let's go after that guy. It didn't work. So shout out to Al Horford. He had a couple big dunks. He kneed Luka in the face unintentionally, but that was, one of the highlights of a really fun night at the Garden.
Don't worry, we're going to get to a lot more Al Horford as the show goes on, but they wrapped up Monday night with Utah in the house. Sam Hauser had 33 points, 9 three-pointers, 7 of those came in the third quarter. Sam Hauser outscored the entire team on the other end in the third quarter, 23-22 by himself.
Yeah, I saved the third quarter only box score from this game, and I'm going to get Sam to sign it because it's historic what he did. 7 threes in a quarter for Celtic to do that in the third quarter. Think about how we start and end this weekly rewind, Meghan, with Derek White and Peyton Pritchard going for 40 each, and then Sam Hauser going for 33. It's just a testament to how the Celtics, even if guys are out, they can get massive contributions from everybody. And those guys aren't part of the stay ready group, which is more toward the end of the bench. They play every night, but the fact that they can elevate their role and they're okay with their role on a nightly basis, being, behind other guys on the scouting report, I think it says a lot about this team.
As I said before, the highlight of the week has got to be the Lakers at the Celtics. And so for this segment of the show, small bites, we're going to dive into what your coach and what one of your star players was saying about that matchup. I think that I want to give some context to this, because if you follow this team very closely and you watch all the press conferences and the media availabilities with Joe Mazzulla, you know that the mindset is every game carries equal weight. Every game matters. You got to have that mental discipline. But with this Lakers matchup, he talks about legacy. Jayson Tatum talks about what this rivalry means to the league. And I think it just goes to show, and underlined by the minutes that Tatum and Brown played, that this rivalry means a lot to the Celtics.
Yeah, I think Joe, in the big picture perspective, has a very good handle on the legacy that they're trying to leave and what the team means to the city, the state, this whole region. Joe being a New England guy from Rhode Island, growing up with the Celtics having that huge influence on his life and his career. So yeah, in the micro, every game does mean the same, but in the macro, it really doesn't. And I think Joe probably preached that to his team before the game, and as we're going to hear, he preached that to the media after.
Yeah, let's hear from the guys.
I said it before. I mean, obviously it's, the Celtic-Lakers, and you're a part of that, and that's important. And, you can't let that distract you from the things that you have to do to lead to winning. And, I feel like there's moments that you give those guys chances to be able to be a part of that. And they're, Al played 37. Those, like, everybody on this roster's, playing for a legacy, and you do it together. And I felt like that was a great moment for them to be able to compete at a high level for as long as they wanted to.
The NBA is a better place when the Lakers and Celtics are, two of the best teams. Prime time game Saturday night. It was fun as a fan, as a competitor. The games you want to be a part of. It's still the regular season. They only count as one. But it was a lot of fun being out there.
Now let's welcome in Melisa Valdez for Social Snapshot, when we look at what all you weirdos are doing on the internet. Melissa, what do you have for us this week?
It's time for Social Snapshot. Our fans have lots of arts. They've been talking a lot about our Celtics. We're having a good time. Let's check out the first snapshot. All right, well, here we have a post on X from @LuckyMonG1. The dynamic duo, Pritchard and Derek White. We know they had a historic game against Portland, with 40-plus points each. And they are, they're channeling their inner Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, of course, this is inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Despite how, nerdy I am, I actually am not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but shout out to Harris and Taylor in the back for telling us that this is Krillin and Yamcha inspired.
That's right. Great art.
I don't know if those guys do Derek and Peyton justice because of how well they played.
That's right.
And I also think Joe Mazzulla is probably jealous of this belt because he has a few of those, I think, from Jiu-Jitsu.
They look so mad, though, for how many shots they were making.
They're just in the zone. They're hyped up.
Derek never looks like that in real life. He's always smiling.
Absolutely.
Cool, calm, and collected Derek White. Let's check out the next one. And here we have a post by @Bobby Krivitsky.
Bobby Krivitsky is my boy.
Oh, is it? Hello,
Qs,
Bobby.
Yeah.
We've got Drew Holiday and Jayson Tatum taking a rest on a game day, eating some popcorn on the sidelines, but our friend over here at Sandwiched Bread did an illustration of them eating their popcorn.
Okay,
how
this
cute is
is
this?
cute. This is a very cute drawing. This is the kind of drawing that if I had a child, would approve a tattoo of. If they turned 18 and said, I want a tattoo, it's adorable.
Why don't you get it yourself?
They're eating the popcorn, but they're focused on the game as well.
Yeah, I want a Sandwiched Bread tattoo. They have some of my favorite tweets of all time. Some of the illustrations, always of Derek, which are adorable, and this one's pretty good too. That's the aesthetic. That's the aesthetic. Please do.
Let's take a look at the last one. And here is another post by @BasedJace_Ball Tim Hauser. Well, here you have Mike Vrabel, Joe Mazzulla, Sam Hauser, Joe Andruzzi were amongst those getting buzz cuts yesterday at the Granite Saving by Shaving event. They expected to raise about $3.5 million for Boston's Children's Hospital. Do we think that we're going to get another version of Sam now that he has that shaved head?
Evil Sam Hauser with no hair.
Well,
shaving their head for a great cause.
We saw it with Derek White. right. His game definitely went up a level.
That's right.
But I just have a question. What exactly changed here for our guy Joe Mazzulla?
Hey, maybe he wasn't
hair
done
was
yet,
exactly
but we'll
the
have to
same.
see it at tonight's game, maybe.
But it's a wonderful annual event that they do. So shout out to them raising that money for Boston
That's
Children's
right.
Hospital.
Good cause indeed.
All right. Well, that's it for Social Snapshot this week. Thank you, Melissa.
You're
Don't go
welcome.
anywhere. We are taking a quick break. But on the other side, we got to talk more about ageless Al Horford.
Tatum going to work, elbow jumper, yes sir!
To my spot, rolls up. It's crazy. I'm 6-time All-Star.
Deuce, what up, baby?
I'm not a baby.
You a baby.
Let's get it. Leaves it on time.
One of the most coveted times of our game, so I'm just enjoying the overall experience, just having a good time.
Welcome back. On this week's Inside Access, there is a new episode of Beneath the Banners, and we start with the Celtics getting, well, 3 Celtics, that is, getting their USA Olympic rings.
Hey. Good to see you.
Looking good. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing
Drew, wanted to present y'all rings, and thank you guys for the sacrifice this summer. And it was chaotic, but it was fun. And I know you guys are used to getting rings, so wanted to make sure we came and bring it to you. So may not be as big and as gaudy as the ones you got for your world championship, but certainly wanted to. Here you go, sir.
These guys are getting a lot of jewelry. Here's a question, because I know you have a little bit of jewelry from last season yourself, Drew Carter. What are the instances in which you wear these rings? Is it just weddings to show them off at the cocktail hour? When are you rocking these?
Well, one good opportunity would have been today's show, so nice job by me dropping the ball on that one. I rarely bring it out. Number one, because I didn't do anything to help us win. So that it makes me feel like a bit of a poser to be wearing the ring. But number two, I think the right time to wear it is when you know you'll be surrounded by Celtics fans where people might get a kick out of seeing it. I'll be honest though, Meg, I didn't even know that you got a ring for winning gold with Team USA. I thought the medal was kind of
I thought the medal was the
reward.
thing too.
I never knew they got rings until now. But you Drew Holiday, where are you putting all these bad boys?
I don't know.
And then where's Lauren putting all of her hardware?
You know what, Drew Holiday, hit me up. I got a lovely jewelry box that I have in my home. I'll tell you the brand of it. I think that you're going to be intrigued. But we have another clip here for Inside Access from Beneath the Banners. We love seeing different generations of Celtics mix and mingle. So let's see the guys catch up with one Kevin Garnett.
Right, feel that thing, dog, right. Feel that thing, sister. What's up with you, boy? How's you living, y'all good? Deuce, what's up? I'll get a bucket on you right now, Deuce, what's up?
My daddy couldn't even do any of those.
He couldn't do any of those dunks?
No.
Why you hating? I don't know. Let me know where to show up at. You good? Good to see you, dog. My dog, Deuce. Good to see you.
Okay, trash talking is an art. And it's an undervalued part of being an NBA player or just an elite athlete at any level. So I like where Deuce is heading, Drew.
Yeah, and I also love KG's Bill Russell. I think that's a USF hoodie that he was wearing. And not only that, his ability to censor himself around children is very impressive, because I think that's the first clip I've ever seen of KG where he doesn't use at least one cuss word. So good on you, Kevin Garnett. When the youngsters are around, none of that other colorful talk.
Especially because he's just like in awe of Deuce's very young trash talking about his own father in front of him. He's like, KG's here, I gotta talk it up.
He's like one of the goats of talking trash. He's right up there with Larry Bird and Celtics lore. So good on Deuce for knowing his audience.
We could have just seen the passing of the baton, so that's very exciting. Something that I was in awe of, as we talked about earlier, was Al Horford's performance against the Lakers. Let's go into player spotlight, because we are spotlighting one Al Horford, all 38 years young. It wasn't just the Laker game where he completely locked down LeBron. He was picking Luka's pocket. He's been great over the last couple weeks, really.
Yeah, without Porzingis, and get well soon, KP, hope to see him back out on the floor in no time, but Horford has really stepped up. This was my favorite play of the whole Lakers game. Jaylen getting the steal, Al with the dunk, and then a little knee to Luka, unintentional, of course, but running the floor, getting up for dunks, and do you want a couple of numbers, a couple of advanced analytics?
A lot of what he does doesn't show up in the stats, but I love the stats if we got them.
So let's bring them up. So these are from Tim Bontemps of ESPN.com. Shout out to Timmy B. So LeBron, Luka, and Reeves isolated Al Horford 23 times in that one game. Second most isolations against a player in one game since player tracking started over 10 years ago, right? So 23 isolations against Al Horford. He allowed 0.39 points per possession, which is one of the best numbers we've ever seen against a guy who gets isolated a lot. 0.39 points per possession. That's terrible, right?
Absolutely incredible for Al, though.
But why?
Absolutely incredible.
They're only targeting him, I guess, because he's old. I guess because the Celtics don't have any weak links defensively. This is not the team to hunt against.
Absolutely not. We'll see what happens with Kristaps Porzingis because he's been on the injury report a little bit. But let's hear from Joe Mazzulla about that performance from Al on Saturday.
One, it motivates him. I think when people do it, it motivates him. And I got to watch 5 possessions of him defend at a high level. And at one point, I wasn't coaching. I was just watching him. And I was like, man, this guy's a future Hall of Famer. I get to watch this, for free. And you have to be able to have that perspective. And, so I think he was motivated by that. And he's just an innate competitor. And it inspires our team.
I love this. Take care of Al. It's okay to taper a little bit at this point of the season because we want him for a lot of playoff action. But Drew, we've gone this far. We haven't talked about OKC yet. That is crazy. There is a tremendous matchup Wednesday night. Celtics hosting OKC. So let's get right into Future Focus. This is where we tell you what's coming up on the horizon for your Boston Celtics. And as I said, it starts with OKC, perhaps the best defensive team in the entire league. They are averaging 10.7 steals per game. They also have a league best defended field goal percentage of 43.6. That is very tough even for the sharpshooters on the Celtics.
Yeah, I'll just say this. You can drop the perhaps. They are the best defensive team in the league, at least from what we've seen so far in the regular season. I think the Celtics, if they crank it up, they can be on a similar level. I mean, think about what we just talked about in the Lakers game. But this Oklahoma City defense is next level from the rest of the league all season, and they've done it mostly without one or both of their big men, Isaiah Hartenstein, who they added in the offseason, and then Chet Holmgren, who, almost won Rookie of the Year last season. He would have if it hadn't been for Wemby. This is just an incredible defensive team. Talking about the big men, that's not even what makes them elite. It's the guys on the perimeter. It's SGA who defends and is probably going to win MVP. It's Jalen Williams, who unfortunately is out for this game for Oklahoma City. But Lou Dort is built like a fire hydrant. You cannot move that guy. Isaiah Joe is a sharpshooter off the bench. It is a beautifully constructed roster built by Massachusetts native Sam Presti, coached by Massachusetts native Mark Daigneault, who won Coach of the Year last year. It's an incredible matchup. I'm going to try not to say potential finals preview on the broadcast too many times tonight.
We could talk about OKC truly all day, but the Celtics do have 2 other matchups, really 3, but they see one team twice. Let's start with Miami, who are 4-11 in the last 15 games. Celtics have won 9 of their last 10 against Miami, including the playoffs. This will be the first night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, been dominating this series, which, you love to see. That's a good rivalry, at least it has been for the last half decade, probably. Miami is still an interesting team with their double big. You have Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, a.k.a. Young Superman. But the Celtics did a fantastic job against those guys down in Miami, and they have not let the Heat score really at all in the last few matchups. So looking forward to hopefully another Celtics win against the bitter rivals from Miami.
The bitter rivals. Yeah. All right, well, they see Brooklyn twice in the next week. The Nets just ended a 7-game losing streak with a win over the Lakers. Celtics have won 16 of their last 17 against the Nets. This will be Boston's last home game before a very long road trip, which you are going to be embarking on.
That is right. Hopefully there's some good UV index for me on that road trip so I can work on my tan. But focusing on Brooklyn, this Nets team plays really hard. They're going to look a little bit different from when we saw them early in the season. They were doing a little wheeling and dealing at the trade deadline. I think it's pretty clear what they're trying to do this season, which is hit the reset button, hopefully get a high draft pick. But they play hard. Jordi Fernandez, their first-year coach, always makes sure of that. So I think they're going to be entertaining games. And it's always fun to go to New York. And, the Celtics have dominated this series recently, but it's a tough back-to-back going from Florida to New York and then playing at 6 o'clock against the Nets. So got to be careful with this one.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, we're entering an interesting point of the season when you're trying to balance out, hey, these guys need a certain amount of conditioning going into the playoffs with making sure everybody is right, making sure your rotations are tight, making sure the rhythm is there between these guys because the playoffs are coming up close.
Woo.
Like they are coming.
Yeah. Are you going to shove a cake in my face to celebrate the playoffs almost being here?
I mean, a cake, maybe we'll go full on like pie.
Ah.
Because the cake, it had a nice impact, but it didn't create the mess that I was hoping for. To quote one person who loves to organize other people's home, I love mess.
I don't. That's why I had my bib, but I'll be on the lookout, I guess.
All right, that's Celtics Weekly. We will catch you guys next Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in.